Welcome back to Important Library Stuff, a podcast where library staff share the inside scoop on all the stuff that happens at Prince William Public Libraries. And trust us, it's a lot of stuff. I'm your host, Emily Bickers, media specialist from the Office of Communications and Marketing. I will be joined each episode by fellow staff members who know a lot more on each episode's topic than I do, which for this episode covers PWPL's very first LitCon coming up next month. Let's learn together from two library programmers leading LitCon. Sharon Moores from Dumfries Library.
Hi.
And Kat Seastead from Haymarket Gainesville Library.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourselves by sharing 3 books you love?
Okay, so Kat here. The Full Metal Alchemist manga series is one of my favorites of all time. So any of those. I'm also a really huge fan of The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. That is definitely one of my favorite comfort reads. And then, of course, I have to pick Mort by Terry Pratchett from the Discworld series. I love the whole one, but Mort is really my favorite.
Picking 3 is really hard.
It's hard for librarians, especially.
Yes, because then you start narrowing it down to qualifications. So my favorite 3 of this are 3 in general. I'd say are I love Beloved by Toni Morrison.
A classic.
Yes, and my favorite thing is Monsters by Emma Ferris, a graphic novel. The third would have to be Life After Life by Kate Atkinson.
So you like to be sad?
It's funny. I never thought of that. But yeah, maybe I like to be sad. Maybe I like the heart-wrenching, doing the hard work to get to the good place.
Well, sometimes the catharsis is nice. Like, I will read books that I know are going to make me cry, like if I feel like I just need to let the emotions out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There are definitely moods. Like, I have friends who read they have a stack and they're like, here's what I'm reading this year. And I can't do that. And when I'm done a book, there's a mood and I have to pick the next book based on mood.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really judge the sad book thing. Almost all of my favorite books are The Outcast Finds a Family. So I can't really judge you that hard.
Yeah, based on the books you pick.
Yep.
All right. What is LitCon?
Well, LitCon is to promote and celebrate our physical and digital manga, graphic novel, and anime collections. We're going to have all kinds of events that we're holding for that main purpose.
And a lot of Star Wars content.
Yes, because when we originally started planning this and picked April as a good time to do it, a good time between the winter reading programs and summer reading programs that we do, we picked April. And then the Office of Programming and Events came back to me and said, hey, we should make this one more week. Free Comic Book Day, which is always the first Saturday of May, is May 4th. And, of course, May 4th is Star Wars Day, and it would just be dumb to not have events overlapping. So we said, all right, fine, it's going to be 5 weeks of LitCon to overlap that. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot of Star Wars, too.
Yeah, it's just kind of a lot of geek.
Oh, yeah, we're geeking
nerd
hard.
stuff in general. Just the good stuff.
So you mentioned Free Comic Book Day. What is that? What is it going to look like at the library?
Oh, Free Comic Book Day, I think a lot of people think is solely for comic book stores. And, of course, that's the main crux of the event, that Free Comic Book Day works with comic book stores to distribute free comic books to people who maybe can't afford to get series or who are curious about comics but don't know how to enter that genre. But Free Comic Book Day also has an associate program for libraries. Kat and I each applied separately, and we each got accepted. So we're going to have a lot of free comic books on May the 4th. And some of the branches are also doing Star Wars events that day. Like I know we are. Are you at HG? Or?
Yeah, we are doing our, at this point, annual Star Wars celebration. We have May the 4th be with you pretty much every year. Aside from when we were closed, I've had Star Wars Day at least once a year in the last 5 years I've worked here. Well, a coworker of mine worked at a bookstore, and she actually donated several Demon Slayer manga volumes for us to give away as well.
Nice. That'll be great. Yeah, we're gonna have at Dumfries. We're gonna have some Star Wars collectibles to give away. Some just general generic superhero collectibles for kids, and I have a few. I guess one-offs is the best way to say it.
Like single issues?
Yeah, exactly. Single issues of various manga series to give away, and then just a couple of randoms. Like I have a Naruto magnet I really want to give somebody.
Yeah, I have my one of my favorite comic series is Hawkeye from the Avengers by Matt Fraction and David Aja. So I recently bought the big omnibus of the whole thing. So now I have like the single issues I can actually give away.
How will PWPL's LitCon be similar or different to these like large conventions that usually cost money to go to?
Right. Well, first, the big one is that it's not taking place over a 3-day weekend. Like this is not a overstimulation fest. Since it's stretched out over 5 weeks, it's a little more time-friendly for people with different kinds of schedules. We have a lot of passive programs that are going on. So it can be anything from like take and make kits to art walls or just like displays. We have recommendation bookmarks and things like that. So there are some aspects that aren't really tied down by you have to be at this branch at this time. But I'm really excited about what the library branches with makerspaces, Bull Run and Central.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to what they're doing with the cosplay.
Yes.
They're doing I think Central is doing a cosplay drop-in.
Yeah, and it runs a little longer than the actual event that they're having that day. So there's a good chunk of the April 6th.
Yeah, and I kind of like that it's also not centrally located. Like we're not only doing it at HG. We're not only doing it at Chin Park, Dumfries, Central. It's kind of it's a little more location friendly than one of those big cons where you're taking several days off of work to commit to going to a place and getting a hotel room or just riding the metro back and forth every day. So this is definitely easier. And then because we have the digital element that we're also supporting, we'll have book lists available online, and there are ways that you can engage with what we're doing for LitCon outside of the buildings from your house.
Yes. Yeah, no matter which branch you regularly go to, there will be a LitCon event of some sort there during the course of the 5 weeks, which is great.
And if you want to go to all of them,
yes,
that would be great.
We have I'll talk about this in a minute, but we have a component that encourages everybody to go all of the branches if they'd like. There's 5 or 6 core components to a comics convention, and I wanted to make sure we had one of each of those things at the very least when we were planning this. And that's like cosplay. And as Kat said, we're going to have opportunities at our maker spaces to work on your costumes. Or even if you're just not sure where to start, you can come into the maker spaces and see what equipment we have there that can help you with your costume. It's not just a million different types of sewing machines. We also have Glowforge, 3D printers, that kind of thing to help you there. But so cosplay, collectibles, and this is where I mentioned before, if you want to visit all of the branches during LitCon, we are doing a passive event that we call Contour, where each of the branches has designed their own pin that goes with LitCon. You can go around and collect all 12 pins if you want, and in fact, there's actually more than 12 you can collect, because some of us, we designed more than one pin.
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're
Y'all
talking
have
about.
4 designs,
We
right?
do have 4.
And at Dumfries, we have 4 designs.
I just got really excited.
Like who else? Like I know Lake Ridge has 3, I think. Yeah, so there's a bunch you can collect, and if you want to do it, cool. If you don't want to do it, that's of course fine. You just go to your branch, you can get one of the pins there, and that's while supplies last. So
Yeah.
of course earlier in the 5-week period is better for scoring that. So cosplay collectibles, and like we said before, we're going to have a bunch of collectibles on Free Comic Book Day at a number of branches. Culture, is a big one of the conventions I've been to. They all embrace the Japanese and South Korean cultures that a lot of these manga series take place in.
Not just South Korea and Japan, but also for any of my Danmei fans out there. There's also some stuff from China.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We do have stuff from China. Oh, yeah. Also, big fans of the Artist Alley. So we have a mini Artist Alley that we're doing at Central as part of their April 6th event, which LitCon starts April 1st, but April 6th at Central is our first
really the
big
kickoff.
event of the LitCon programming. And they're going to have a mini Artist Alley with some area artists who are seasoned pros when it comes to doing convention artist alleys. And then fan engagement is a big one. Things we can do with fans of these series, like we're going to, and also Star Wars. We have a number of Star Wars things like a lightsaber battle. The 501st Legion, which is Vader's Fist, an area nonprofit of folks who come to events like this as stormtroopers. The 501st Legion is going to be at Central on April 6th.
Shout out to Garrison Tyrannus. They're our local chapter.
Yes.
And they are super nice.
So that's great. So I'm looking forward to them being there. And we have like superhero training, superhero parties, a lot of stuff like that where fans can engage directly with what we're doing.
And the fan art. We're going to be having an art wall at HG, so you can come in and bring your drawings or paintings or sketches or anything that you want to display, and we will display it for you.
Excellent.
And then
That's a good idea.
Similarly to the fan engagement part, we're going to be doing a display in the teen area where we will be putting a bunch of manga protagonists up on the windows, and March Madness bracket style, you guys get to vote
That's a good idea.
to see who's going to win.
Yes.
And if it's not Sailor Moon,
I was just going to ask if you have a secret favorite, and then you made it not secret at all.
Sailor Moon has the power of like the universe, the galaxy on her side.
But, I mean, Sailor Moon's kind of OG.
There are almost 50 LitCon related events happening over the 5 weeks at all 12 branches. Which event are you looking forward to the most?
Ooh.
Selfishly, because it's my program, I'm really looking forward to the Star Wars Day at Haymarket Gainesville. But if I were to be fair, I actually am really looking forward to the lightsaber battle. Like, I want to see the photos from that. Like, I want to see what comes out of that. I might have to, if I'm not working that day, I might have to pop over and just kind of watch. But I'm really looking forward to the lightsaber battle.
Yeah, like Kat, they're right about you kind of have a selfish plug you want to make. I'm looking forward to we're calling our Star Wars Day Star Wars Cantina at Dumfries on May 4th. I'm really looking forward to that. But we have one of our library employees on staff who does comics, is an illustrator, and he's going to be doing an event, and I think that's going to be really cool. A live drawing event, and also is going to be doing portfolio assessments for people who are interested in breaking into the industry. I think that's cool, but yeah, like you, I have to admit, I just kind of want to go on April 6th to Central and just see all the magic happening there first. And they've got a little bit of all the little things. They got a little of the cosplay. They got a little of the Artist Alley. I'm going to see if I can get the day off.
Yeah.
Go see.
Well, and then again, another HG plug. One of our colleagues does a Pokemon Club program that is super popular with our area. But for LitCon, I think it's going to be scaled up a little bit more. I know she's got an impressive Pokemon like trading card game collection. So she'll be like giving away cards and trading them, and she knows everything there is basically to know.
Well, that's going to be popular.
Yeah. So and Pokemon is pretty big.
Oh yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping we get some really fun interactions from that because the Pokemon Club will do Pokemon Go. If you bring your games on the Switch, like she'll help you get version exclusives that aren't for the game that you have, and trading, battling. Like she's got battle mats for the card games and the whole thing. So
And Go's so fun to play at libraries anyway,
Yes.
because there's
They're all Pokestops.
well, we
Oh,
have
yeah.
we have the Bushy Park house behind the HG library is a gym
Really?
as well as our library.
Oh,
So
nice.
the staff that play Pokemon Go still, it's just us kicking each other out of the gyms all day. If you have a minute, you're on your break. You're like, ooh, is Mystic back in the gym again? Nope.
Not anymore.
Fowler all the way.
Which events would you recommend for someone interested in making their own comics? I know you mentioned a portfolio review.
Any of the branches that are doing comic related take and makes, I think, or anyone who's doing some good art programs, because I know there's several branches that are planning to do comic and art related programs. I would definitely check those out. Definitely check the website for kind of the full detail of who's doing what and when.
Yeah, some examples. Nokesville's having a DIY comics program for grades K through 12 on April 10th. The whole month of April, Manassas City is doing a create your own character, which
Right.
they want to put on their walls, but that could be, inspiration
Yeah,
for your
absolutely.
future comic book character.
Well, and with our art wall that's going to be up, that can kind of help inspire.
Yeah, and I was going to say Manassas Cities is a great one too. If you don't know where to start, if you're interested and haven't done it before, it's a good place to go to get some guidance.
And there's always at least one nerd on staff who would love to talk to you about comic
Oh
art.
yeah, we have one. Everybody's got one.
Yep.
Another program that jumped out to me is a virtual program, so no matter where you are, you can attend. But we're going to have a fantasy artist roundtable.
Yes. I'm
Yes.
super excited for that.
That one those are some biggies in the industry, so it'll be fun to hear them.
If someone is not a lover of comics and manga, which LitCon event should they give a try?
That's a good question.
Oh,
Ooh.
if they don't like comics and manga, you gotta do the Star Wars.
And then we have a number of events that are tied to LitCon through the culture aspect that I think people would find interesting. Like we're gonna have,
Japanese bookbinding.
that's exactly what I was
Yeah.
gonna say, but I don't remember who's doing that.
At Chin Park and Lake Ridge, actually.
Oh,
So you
okay.
got
Two
two
people are doing it.
options
Okay, good.
for young adults and adults.
There's a lot of events within LitCon where you can stick your toe in that have nothing to do with a specific aspect
Right.
of a manga or anime book or series, and you'll still find it fun.
What we decided to do were to kind of work the themes into existing programs. Like Pokemon
yeah.
Go said, like Lego Club, we're going to kind of do some tie-ins there. All of our story times, we're going to kind of work elements and themes like friendship and things like that, because friendship is the most powerful magic of all. So like we're gonna have like superhero themes and things like that on the West. So definitely check the regular scheduled programs because sometimes there will be a little fun craft or a little fun theme surprise.
Yeah, well, I know we're doing something similar at Dumfries for our story time. So yes, and the crafter dudes that we have after our story times are going to be, it's going to pick up on the theme, but of course entirely separate from LitCon as well. If you just come to story time, you're not going to feel like, oh, I'm getting inundated with LitCon stuff.
Right.
It's just going to be story time.
Well, and if you're just interested in fandom in general, LitCon is not specific to manga, and it's not specific to just comic books. It's everything about comic books, graphic novels, manga. Like even if you're not a big manga fan and not a huge comic book fan, if you like The Walking Dead is a huge meaty comic series.
Yes.
And it is quite different from the show.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on that's like if you're not a manga person, there will be fandom stuff for you.
Yeah, I worried when I went to my first convention, I thought, I don't read manga. There's going to be nothing for me here. I do graphic novels. A lot of them are one-offs. What am I going to find here? Well, as somebody who likes art, there was a ton for me there. As somebody who's just interested in creativity general, what it takes to create something, what it takes to write a book, that kind of thing, it was interesting listening to people talk about just what had given them ideas for certain things. There can be a lot for you, even if you're not specifically interested in manga, anime, graphic novels.
Like even The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like that's not comic book, manga, graphic novel, but that is extremely present in sort of the nerd culture. And usually, at least at HG, there's a bunch of Tolkien fans in the building. So you can always find... something fun. So you don't have to be into these things specifically, but there will be spaces for you.
The comic book days that branches are hosting. If your kid wants to wear their last Halloween costume, that
Absolutely.
is awesome. It doesn't need to be comic
Please.
related.
For any of our events, like if you're going to the April 6th event at Central, please, you have a cosplay costume you love, or you just have a cape and it is your favorite thing, and it's not something you feel like you can go to the grocery store and you can come to the library and
Bring us your Disney princesses. Bring it. It's all good.
Yeah, there was a little girl that I saw. She wore her brother's Thor costume with a red tutu and had a little red feathered wand and in one hand and the hammer in the other. And she introduced herself. She had a tiara as well, I should mention. She introduced herself as Princess Thor. I think about Princess Thor almost every day. Because she had the fake muscles and everything. She had to be like 4. And she was like, I'm Princess Thor. And I was like, oh my God, you are.
That's what's so great about this too, though, as a culture, because the culture is so welcoming to come up with an idea like Princess Thor. Everybody's going to think you're amazing because you are.
Well, and several of us that saw her were tears in our eyes. This is so cute. This is excellent.
Libraries in general, the opposite of gatekeepers.
Yes.
Everyone is welcome. Similarly, I think some people in the past have labeled graphic novels, comics, manga as not real books, or they shouldn't count.
That is one of my biggest pet peeves.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
These are real books.
Yeah.
And they might be great books if you have a child who's struggling to read or who has lost interest in reading, because that is really common once you get out of elementary school and you get into middle and high school and you're having to read for, they're teaching to the test and you're not reading for fun anymore. You're reading for analysis, and it really drops off for those kids. And so if they find a book at the library that interests them, don't discourage that. And that's part of the reason we want to promote and celebrate these books, to get across to everyone that, hey, this is a more than acceptable form of literature, of reading. So,
well, I'm going to toot my horn for a second, because when I was in graduate school getting my master's in youth librarianship, I did a research project that was, I called it Mind the Gap. And it was about how we lose the majority of our readers between the ages of 8 to 12, particularly boys. We lose the majority of our readers there. And if you can mind the gap and use movie or media tie-ins, graphic novels, comic books, manga, if you can use those to help them continue to be readers through that period, they will be readers.
They'll stick with it.
As a teenager and adult. Yeah, it was remarkable to see the difference between letting your kid read the things that they want to read instead of policing them that hard.
Scholastic does a reading survey every year. Since 2010, there's been a noticeable drop every year. It gets worse every year, too, of once the kids get past age 8, it really starts at age 9, a drop in reading for fun, and then it becomes very dramatic by age 12 or 13, that it drops steeply, the number of kids who are reading for fun.
As a tween, when I moved to Prince William, I remember being so excited that the Gainesville Neighborhood Library had manga, because I had grown up very rural for the first 10 years of my life, And so coming here, I was like, oh no. Oh, look at all this stuff that I only heard about from my cousins or would have to borrow from friends or things like that. And I was like, oh, I could just request 20 manga volumes from Bull Run or Central or anything. And this was back in the early aughts. But I could go in and just be like, I would like you to send the entire Fruits Basket series to me. And one of the librarians would be like, okay, sure.
Obviously, the physical graphic novel and manga are really great. But we also have a lot online.
We do.
Oh, yeah, and you should take advantage of that. There's a lot more available on Hoopla, for example.
Hoopla is...
So much on there.
Hoopla's really good. I will say, as someone who consumes a lot of manga, I love the Hoopla collection specifically because it has more of the lesser-known titles, like more of the niche stuff, or it's not necessarily like a shonen or shoujo, the typical manga genres you get. But then, like, Libby, you can still get a pretty good amount of manga. You have to wait for it, but...
Yeah.
But Hoopla is really that kind of instant gratification, more niche series and standalones. So I really appreciate that. This is not really an intentional plug, but I do get the Wowbrary.
Yes.
And I will specifically look for like whatever random graphic novel, manga, comic title is going up on Hoopla or what we bought.
Well, thank you both so much.
Emily,
Thank you for having us.
Before we go, I wanted to thank our sponsors, Blick Art Materials and Summit Community Bank Manassas office, for supporting this inaugural event. You'll find a lot of the events involve crafts, snacks, decorations, and more, and we wouldn't be able to offer them for free were it not for our sponsors, the Prince William Library Foundation, and our Friends of the Library groups and their support. I had one quick reminder. If you want to peruse the dozens of LitCon events for yourself, head on over to pwcva.gov/library and click on Library Events. Our Online Explorer magazine for spring has them all nicely arranged near the front. You can also click our online events calendar, and you can search, you can filter by branch to see everything that's being offered. And that's also where you can register for events. I will close us out with a quote from the manga series referenced in the episode title, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure by Araki Hirokiko. Good grief, don't underestimate me just because I'm a kid. Thanks for listening, and join us in 2 weeks for the next episode of Important Library Stuff.